MetaDAO and ownership coins are invincible at this point. Holy moly, what's going on out there? Tokens are broken and founders are committing suicide left and right. Welcome back to another episode of Onchain Trenches. My name is 𝗬𝗵𝘁, and yeah, today we're gonna take another deep dive into the MetaDAO ecosystem, and I will report everything that is going on there and summarize all the biggest news that went down over the last few days. So yeah, what we're gonna talk today is why tokens are broken and why the industry desperately needs ownership coins if we as the crypto industry wanna survive. Then we're gonna take a look at the Colosseum STAMP announcement, which is massive for MetaDAO and now reveals the real moat that has formed around the project. And towards the end, we will take a short look at 𝗪𝗺, who doxed himself at Solana breakpoint last week, and take a short peek into MetaDAO's monthly update number 6. All right, without further ado, let's directly jump in. So yeah, what the hell? Just another big token rock went down yesterday as Circle announced that they are going to buy Interop Labs, the developers behind the Axelar protocol. And yeah, that just caused some massive waves in the industry. And MetaDAO posted here, the floggings will continue until tokens improve. So yeah, the TLDR is that Interop Labs, the core developers behind Axelar, got acquired by Circle, and they are gonna lead the Circle's infrastructure build out at Arc, their own layer 1 blockchain focused on stablecoins, and CCTP, their interoperability protocol. And yeah, of course, Axelar network and the Axel tokens were not part of this deal. So basically everybody that held or is still holding Axelar tokens got massively rocked. The entire developer team got bought out by Circle. They're now migrating and will soon be full-time working on Circle, while yeah, the Axelar network, whatever that is, and yeah, the token holders are left holding the bag and can now watch their token go to zero. And yeah, I saw this meme out there on X and I thought it's super funny and it should be shared here. So Circle acquires Interop Labs. Whoa, Circle acquires Axel token, right? Right? I mean, this is hilarious. And yeah, here some comments from famous voices on X and on why we need ownership coins. So Mike Dudas, he stated here, nice, continuing the pattern of screwing over non-CEO and key employee stakeholders in your acquisition. This comment was directed to the announcement of the buyout of Interop Labs. So basically everybody except the CEO and a few key employees got screwed over by this acquisition. I mean, the CEO and all the folks that are now moving over to Circle, they get handsomely remunerated, I guess, but token holders and investors, I'm not sure what happens with them. Probably early investors of Axelar, since they hold equity rights, they receive some of the payout proceeds, but yeah, all the token holders, they get nothing in exchange. And then 𝗪𝗵, the co-founder of 𝗪𝗵𝘁, jumped in and like here, quoting, Axel tokens are not part of the acquisition. Another day, another marketing post for ownership coins. And I mean, this is so wild. Somewhat it feels that MetaDAO has become the Tesla of crypto. I mean, Tesla never spent one single dime on marketing, and now the exact same thing is happening to MetaDAO without them promoting ownership coins. Like the entire industry promotes them for them by rugging their token holders, and people are just crying for ownership coins, which is insane. And yeah, here another beautiful comparison by 𝗪𝗵, because since somebody asked him in the comments, how would you differentiate ownership coins and non-ownership coins? And he says that holding non-ownership coins, aka governance coins or meme coins, is like dating a stripper and thinking she loves you, while ownership coins is more like having a relationship that has deep mutual appreciation. And yeah, I fully agree with him. Beautiful analogy. And then here, David from Blockworks chimed in as well, and he says, at this point, the only way to send a message about token holder rights is to gigasend MetaDAO. And that's not exactly what happened. I mean, MetaDAO pumped, it didn't gigasend, But yeah, while everything else is down over the last 24 hours, MetaDAO is up by 10 or 15%. So a cool signal, but I definitely agree with David. We have to gigasend MetaDAO at this point to send out a signal to the broader industry. And then another fellow bad kid, John Karp, offered his advice. And he says that every single day I become more bullish MetaDAO and less bullish any other token that isn't an ownership coin. And if you look at the date here, he dropped this post on November 21st. It was true back then. And yeah, earlier today, he reshared it because it is still true. And I highly resonate with him. I mean, these days, if you don't hold ownership coins, you have no fucking clue what you are actually holding, whether it's just a meme coin and what are the rights that this token represents. Is it really just a gimmick, or are you actually the owner of the underlying business and the future cash flows that it generates? Then I took a step back and I thought ownership coins are gonna win inevitably over the long term, but they have such a massive competitive edge against any other kind of token out there, because ownership coins, they don't have to engage in token buybacks to signal trust and loyalty to token holders. I mean, trust and ownership, those are natively embedded properties that come with with ownership coins, while other projects like BAMFun, which is, I think, the second most revenue generating protocol out there behind Hyperliquid, I mean, they have to signal their trust and loyalty to token holders by repurchasing or by buying back their own token instead of reinvesting the proceeds that the protocol is generating to further grow their protocol. And yeah, the market currently is just punishing them. I mean, I love the BAMP token. I think it's an ingenious product. They're generating more than 1 million in revenue every single day. But yeah, the market is just punishing them right now, since there is no trust and token holders don't know what they're actually holding. Are there some backdoors and are there some equity deals with early VCs? We don't know. And yeah, I hope that BAMFun figures it out, because currently it's like trading at a 2x price to sales, which is just insane. And having an ownership coin just gives you a massive competitive advantage versus other teams that are launching governance coins, because you can think long term, you can accumulate the protocol revenues and invest them with a long time horizon, build out the team, add novel and innovative features to the protocol, rather than just burning your cash flow by buying back your own token to signal loyalty to the market. All right, so who else is gonna launch ownership coins going forward? So last week, we had the Breakpoint conference in Abu Dhabi, and there Drift announced that they're gonna launch their own ownership coin using MetaDAO in 2026. Then another project, Ranger, they as well announced they're gonna launch an ownership coin on MetaDAO, and here their co-founder FA2, he said that Ranger will launch when the MetaDAO audits are done, and they should be done within 1 or 2 weeks. So probably, Ranger will launch in early January. That's my best guess. And then we had Prophet that stated in his keynote speech at Breakpoint that there are currently over 400 teams interested in launching a ownership coin on MetaDAO. 25 of those are high quality teams, and 10 teams out of those 400, he said, are super gifted teams that would easily be able to raise VC money, but they are, or at least they're considering to launch an ownership coin on MetaDAO because they want to tap into the benefits of just having ownership coins, real token holder protection, and give community owners the opportunity to buy in very early at super reasonable valuations. And here we have the breaking news of yesterday. Colosseum, the #1 accelerator and hackathon organizer in the Solana ecosystem, announced STAMP, which stands for Simple Token Agreement Market Protected. And it is nothing else than an investment contract that provides crypto founders a clear path from raising private capital to launching a public token, an ICO, through MetaDAO, while securing market-protected ownership for investors and token holders. It took me a while to digest this announcement and to carefully read through it, but the more time I spent on it, the clearer it became to me that this is arguably the most bullish announcement that I've ever seen for MetaDAO, and I am so pumped for this going live. So let's take a closer look at what it is. So as of now, we have one key problem, which is the traditional fundraising models are super outdated and create a lot of confusion among investors and the overall industry. We know that, every startup founder at some point, they need some funding, and hence they're going to accelerators like Colosseum or others. They're seeking early investments from VCs. But the fundamental issue is that tokens these days, they are a weird combination between a SAFE, which stands for soft agreement for future equity, and token warrants. So they're basically selling their idea, and the investor gets like two conflicting pieces of papers, promises, whatever it is, like equity and tokens. And as you see, like nobody really understands. There are these duality equity token structure, which confuses a lot of people. It has misaligned incentives. It's confusing for token holders, and it's highly extractive. And STAMP is here to fix this issue. So STAMP, together with MetaDAO, are providing now this secure and aligned way for founders to launch on-chain ICOs after having raised from VCs before. So what STAMP is doing, they are building this bridge so that existing equity holders or founders that are launching their startup, being bootstrapped by a seed investment from Colosseum, have now a clear path forward to launch their ICO and their ownership coin in the future on MetaDAO by totally destroying their safe agreement and erasing all the equity, and make the token the sole economic unit of their startup, protocol, whatever they are building. So token holders have full ownership over IP rights, over the treasury, and over all future cash flows of the protocol. There is no equity at all. And some key features and benefits from STAMP. Investors cannot receive more than 20% of the entire supply. And team members, they can receive an allocation between 10 and 40% of the entire supply. So this reserves at least 50% of the entire supply for the community and the public ICO held on MetaDAO in the future. Picture this: you have an idea and want to build a new protocol on Solana. You're going to a hackathon held by Colosseum. You win there and you receive a seed investment from their side. So probably they will invest a little bit, and you give them 5% of your entire token supply, and then on top some other investors, seed investors, come to the table and give you another 5%. So you sell 10% of the entire supply to early investors and reserve the remaining 40% of the supply for yourself, future team members, so on and so forth, to give future contributors an incentive to build on your protocol. And then 1 year later, as the prototype is ready and the protocol is battle tested, you go to MetaDAO, you launch there your coin, and 50% of the remaining supply is sold to ICO participants. Those 50% of the tokens will be unlocked and fully liquid on day one, while all the investors, they have a 24-month linear unlock period post ICO. So I think every single month, a small fraction of their tokens will be unlocked, and all the team members, they have performance-based unlocks. So 20% of their token will unlock the moment the coin does a 2x from its ICO price, another 20% after 4x, 8x, 16x, and 32x. And it's just a beautiful combination, since for the very first time, it bridges private capital to on-chain ICOs. And folks that raised VC money in the past but are now somewhat stuck and don't know exactly what to do, since they now want to launch an ownership coins because it gives you all the benefits of having early community buy-in, but it also gives token holders confidence that the founders won't run away with the investments and that they will participate in the financial upside of the protocol. So the TLDR is that STAMP ensures the token is the sole economic unit of every token launch. Here we have Mehdi, the co-founder of Colosseum, and he says there is a monumental shift happening in crypto startup fundraising right now. MetaDAO created a system that protects and aligns both founders and token holders around the sole economic unit of a crypto-native project, namely the token. STAMP completes the funding pipeline by enabling founders who want to or already have raised private VC funding in the past to on-ramp into ICOs and launch ownership coins on MetaDAO. And then we have Rinko, the other co-founder, who says that going forward, there will be two types of coins. There will be either meme coins, which meme coins, governance coins, those are all the same thing, and then ownership coins. And STAMP is our high conviction bet on this future that ownership coins will prevail. And then he highlights it here one more time that STAMP will give birth to more ownership coins and accelerate the shift away from this obscure token plus equity token model. Long live 𝗬𝗪. So it took me a while, as I said initially, to digest all of this. I fed all the documents into Gemini and just brainstormed with it. And I always knew that MetaDAO had this moat, but it wasn't that strong. But now, I mean, the moat is just becoming broader. And as Peter Thiel always said, competition is for losers. Invest in real projects with strong moats, or in the best case, monopolies, just like Google with search or Facebook with social. Now I think that, yeah, the moat around the MetaDAO castle has just become broader. And what I asked Gemini is whether MetaDAO is the sole benefitor or the sole token launchpad on which these STAMP projects can launch their token on. And yeah, what it says is, yes, in the contract, it is written that the project is contractually locked into using MetaDAO for its token launch, unless they get explicit permission from the investors to go elsewhere. So what does it mean? If the founder of the project decides that he wants to rather launch on a different platform, on a CEX or on another decentralized launchpad, they cannot do so unless the majority of the STAMP investors agree to let them. But yeah, if you take a moment and you think about it, this new standard was invented by Colosseum. So I think that most projects that go through the Colosseum hackathon, they will receive some funding from Colosseum itself. So probably 50-30% of the investors will be Colosseum itself. And they are also early investors in MetaDAO. So they have an aligned incentive with MetaDAO to bring more token launches towards like the big, beautiful castle here. So it's very unlikely that all the upcoming projects will launch anywhere else other than MetaDAO. And this just creates this self-reinforcing loop. As new promising startups are going to launch on MetaDAO, everybody else in the industry will want to own and launch ownership coins as well. Otherwise, they are deemed meme coins or shitty governance coins that can be rugged by the founder at any given moment. So in the upcoming months and years, most likely the majority of token launches will be ownership coin token launches. And guess where those coins will be launched? Yes, you guessed it right, on MetaDAO. And I have explained to you the MetaDAO flywheel a few times ago. If you can't remember it, like check it up. You can easily find it on my YouTube channel. But man, this flywheel is gonna spin so much faster now that we have the Trojan horse with the Colosseum logo on it that is feeding dozens, if not hundreds, of upcoming token launches into the MetaDAO castle. All these founders wanting to launch ownership coins. You know, the flywheel goes, the more ownership coins launch on MetaDAO, the more revenue is being generated by MetaDAO, since MetaDAO takes some swap fees on every single time somebody buys in and out of ownership coins. And if ownership coins become the default of new token launches, then I mean, this flywheel should spin 100 times more. This announcement is literally so bullish, and I think that most people highly underestimate it as of now. And here we have another breaking news. Prophet, the co-founder of MetaDAO, who was always known as this profile picture, the genius hiding behind the 𝗬𝗪 mask, finally doxed himself at Breakpoint in Abu Dhabi And here he shared a few thoughts on why he decided to dox himself. He said that trust is super important, especially now that MetaDAO and ownership coins have seen clear signs of product market fit. And the team is asking other folks to do something super risky as betting their startup on this new paradigm of ownership coins. And he says that humans trust faces much more than PFPs. So that's the motivating reason why he doxed himself. Look at this guy. I fully resonate with the thread guy. This guy just looks like a genius, a super intelligent person, and I highly recommend to watch his speech. I mean, the moment he stepped on the stage, he was a little bit shy, but like the impression that he had on me, that he is super humble, down to earth, and just massively passionate about what he is building with MetaDAO and the future of ownership coins. I mean, yeah, this is the type of founder that you as a retail investor want to support and to root for. Let's go, Profit. And finally, Profit dropped the 6th version of the monthly MetaDAO ownership coin holder report, or however we want to call that. And here are the key takeaways and announcements of this report. So in total, more than $30 million have been raised via the MetaDAO launchpad by 7 different projects. And currently, these projects are trading at a market cap of $100 million. So they already more than 3x their entire value. Of course, some coins fared better while others did worse. But if you invested in all of them, then you would now be up more than 3x. So first, recent achievements. What has happened last month on MetaDAO? Solomon raised 8 million from 6,600 different wallets. They filed for the 𝗬𝗪 governance SBC on the Cayman Island that just streamlines the spin up of this DAO entity on the Cayman Islands and makes it easier for upcoming ownership coins to scale and launch their entity on the Cayman Islands. Number 3, the team has been in talks with market makers and sexes. In total, they're talking to 4 different market makers and 11 exchanges. So this means that in the future, not only the Meta token, but also other ownership coins that are being launched on MetaDAO might be listed on sexes as well and supported by various market makers. And number 4, they have hardened the infrastructure, and especially 𝗬𝗪 has proven out that the ownership coin model hypothesis works out by giving retail early access to your product. So they can try it out, battle test it, but more importantly, shill and promote your project out there. And like there's this beautiful chart, the moment that 𝗬𝗪 held their ICO on MetaDAO, the adoption of their debit cards just went parabolic. Cool. So what is the team focusing on next month? First of all, the launch of Ranger Finance. They're waiting for the final audit to come in, and then this ICO can take place on MetaDAO. They are working on optimistic governance, which is a new feature that gives founder more rights over what they're doing with the treasury. For instance, if they are using money for audits, they don't have to go through 𝗬𝗪 unless somebody in the community contests what the founders are doing, and then a governance proposal will be spun up. Otherwise, this won't be the case. It gives more liberty to founders, and they're just been hardening their infrastructure and building out new features. And just some strategic thoughts. Profit mentioned that from the very get-go, he always wanted to go 100% permissionless. But after he received lots of feedback from community members, but also founders, he now thinks that the curation or that guardrail system that the team puts in place by selecting which teams are worthwhile to launch their coins on MetaDAO is the better approach, just to sort out all the potential scammers or low-quality teams. Now he is thinking about ways to scale this curated launch of projects on MetaDAO, and permissionless launches, they might be pushed back a little bit. And he also said that he thinks that they identified 2 viable options to launch coins in the future, to streamline the entire process. So the first one is the uncapped launch, so that founders no longer state how much they want to raise. This should prevent the over submission to these launches. As we've seen in the past, more than 100 million have been committed, and in the end, the founders only take 5 or 6 million. This screws up the entire incentive, and people just overcommit. And then they have a second approach, which is the value-added approach, where you give allocation to those people that have shown that they are adding value to the project, either because they hold other future key coins or are promoting you out there, or users of your protocol, whatever. And one final point that I want to highlight here, I mean, Profit is really super honest and highly transparent with everything they are doing. And in his latest report, he says that he's a little bit disappointed since the team didn't move fast enough over the last month. And I mean, this is good to hear if people are honest and they're constantly trying to push forward and just to ship faster while maintaining high quality and the security. Hence, like, he acknowledged that the team needs to execute faster, especially since there is now this big backlog of 400 projects that want to launch on MetaDAO. And of course, it takes some time to work through every single application, but he is super optimistic about the future. They will streamline this application process and focus on doing fewer things, but do them very well. Cool, that's it for today. Man, there's so much going on MetaDAO, and I'm super, super excited about the future. Also, the market is telling us that ownership coins finally get rewarded for what they be by giving people real ownership over the IP, the treasury, and the future cash flows. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. That would help me a lot to spread the MetaDAO gospel and promote ownership coins to other folks out there that haven't been MetaDAO built yet. That's it, guys. 𝗬𝗵𝘁 out, and see you in the trenches.